What's up, YouTube? Back with episode 3 of the Gray Area podcast. Today is a very interesting issue. We're talking about transgenders in sports in general and why we personally think that's not a very good thing. So, Connor, if you would like to preface the issue and get us started, that'd be great.
Well, first off, you should change your hat so people don't know it's the same day.
Can do that.
No, but I'm leaving this in. It's fine. Yeah. So for me, there's the whole feminist movement, which I think there's difference between. I think there's different types of feminists. There's people that want equality. They want men and women to be treated the same. Which, oh boy, this is a bad idea. I think we're getting very close. We are very close. I don't. People say that women get paid less, blah blah blah. All you got to do is like look at the facts. If you look purely based men and women and how much they make, yeah, it's going to be different because we're different. So that's just like natural, whatever. But this already took a huge turn. But you have to look at, so women tend to go towards the more caring things. If you boil it down to the very minimum, they're more caring. So it's things like caregivers, teachers. I can't. There's other ones, but and just so happens that, and this is the part that they should maybe be fighting for. Those caring things don't get paid. You don't get paid as much. Just men statistically, this is statistically, go for things like engineering and things of that nature, computer sciences. Those all get paid more than I'll ever see in my whole life. So, maybe I'm a feminist just because I want more money for what I want to do, so that's like the whole thing. But anyways, we're getting close. That's what my whole thing. There's never going to be equality because we're different people. I'm not saying we should not like be pushing towards equality, whatever. The main thing is, so there's the feminists that believe in equality, then there's the feminists that honestly I don't fully understand them. I don't know if you do, but
No.
just I don't even know, they're a little more out there. We'll just put it that way. I want to know where the feminists are at when a biological man, he was a man, and now he is a woman, but he is still, let me see, I have the article. I think he's like 200 and, let's see, we'll compete in the women, 87 kilogram weightlifting category. I don't know what 87 kilograms is, but it's a big dude that is now a woman. So, but biologically he was a man. So his whole life he had, he started out as a man. He was born as a baby boy, I'm assuming. And he then had testosterone around age 12 to 15 pumping through his veins, and he, probably got pretty muscly, whatever. And that's just how men work. So then when you switch to a woman, you're still muscly and stuff. So I want to know why the feminists haven't attacked this whole thing. I guess I should say the guy's name that we're, what is it? Or woman, sorry. Laurel Hubbard from New Zealand will be the first transgender woman. What? What are you laughing about?
I'm sorry. I just think it's like ridiculous in my
Yes.
like it genuinely makes me laugh because like equality is fine, but when you're pushing equality past equality to give me more, and the theme of like equality versus equity,
Right.
like I truly just don't understand it. Like, how is it okay like that? I don't know. That would be like, I don't know, me going to play women's soccer or something, and like I just I don't.
Or think about like The Office when Dwight literally was in with a bunch of 8-year-olds doing karate. And it's like, of course you're going to be, or you should be better than an 8-year-old, so if I go to I bet right now, if I went to a tournament, a karate tournament, tournament, there we go, with 8-year-olds, I'd win the whole thing. So is that fair though? I have different experiences and I'm way older and just heavier, even though I'm very skinny, I'm still heavier than an 8-year-old. So it's like, how is it okay that this biological man is now going to probably hold women's weightlifting records? To me, if I was a feminist, if I was a full-blown feminist, or even like the okay equality feminist, I would be furious. I can't even explain it, because it's so, I don't want to use the word fair, but it's so incredibly unfair. You're allowing this human being that is biologically a man to then just demolish you guys because he's a man. I mean, that goes back to who's the guy? He plays what's the game with the small ball? I don't know. It's a weird one, but he's blonde, or she's blonde, but he's like 250 pounds and he's playing this game where it's like a full contact sport and she's demolishing. And it's like, it's because we're different. Like, that's why there's men's and women's sports, because we're different. And it's okay to be able to be like, yeah, I'm the best woman athlete, or I'm the best male athlete. That should be allowed. It shouldn't, the border shouldn't start to get fuzzy in the middle where it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, well, I think it's this identification crisis in the sense that, people can identify with whatever they want to be, which personally I have, I don't care what you identify as. I mean, you could identify as a man or a woman and you could biologically be whatever, but
right,
you're still biologically whatever you're originally born as. So
right,
I don't see how there's an acceptance of this, oh, well, he identifies or she identifies as that, so it's okay. But in reality, it's like, well, I could identify, like you said, as an 8-year-old and go play, any 8-year-old sport on a peewee league and,
right.
kick people through a field goal. Like,
Yep.
it's just, I truly don't understand the mentality of why it's okay. And I wish we had
Right,
somebody on here today who disagreed with us.
right.
Uh,
Well, hey, if you
because
disagree, comment and you could be on here.
please disagree with us.
Yes, that's the goal. The goal is to disagree. That's the goal.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's unfathomable. There we go. Like, it goes back to like Ben Shapiro, he was talking to this very upset human being at a college campus, an indoctrination site. And she said, people are allowed to identify as whatever they want. I agree with that, because it doesn't harm me or others. As soon as you're trying to like strip biological women of their titles that they've earned and they've worked really hard for, and I mean, all you did is decide that you want to be a woman and then maybe, have a surgery or something, spend some money, but now you're dominating. Theoretically, you could be he's in the Olympics, he's dominating. Sorry, I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. But then Ben Shapiro comes back and says, oh, well, then I identify as a 65-year-old man. And she's like, well, you can't do that. And he's like, well, why? And she's like, well, because you're not. And he's like, exactly. Like, age is significantly less important than gender and race, yet you can identify as whatever you want, but you can't identify as a different age. Why not? It's significantly less important. And so it's like, I feel like people, they get caught up in like pseudo compassion where it's like, oh, well, we need to like feel for this person. It's like, no, we need to help this person through an obviously difficult time, so that way we're not just allowing this to spread, because like I always think of like people like kinder gender, it's pedophilia.
Ugh.
Or the whole legislation passed in California where the judge can decide if if the kid and the horrible person is within 10 years, the judge can decide his sentence. No. See, this is it's a slippery slope on purpose, because you're indoctrinating people. You're saying this is okay, and then 5 years from now or less, they'll be like, well, let's just make it 15 years, and then eventually be like, actually, it's okay because you can love whoever you want, and then we're going to go to animals, and then chairs, cars. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
Bright future, I'm
I
seeing.
think what you said about that pseudo compassion is very interesting, in the sense that along with that, people kind of have to feel for, whatever somebody's going through. And that honestly goes back to people's standards of what's okay or dropping. Like
Right.
it comes down to,
No, exactly.
people, like what people think is okay is dropping, and there's no lines anymore because of that pseudo compassion. Well, oh well, they identify as something else I don't understand, so I have to be okay and sympathize
Right.
with them.
They have to be an
Or
ally.
yeah, be allies.
Yeah.
But like it's just it's ridiculous to me, in the sense that, like, being compassionate is one thing, but that overly compassionate, like whatever you do is okay because it's your life and your truth, that's just not okay. Because, like, well, we have laws literally against that. Like,
Right.
well,
There's
my
a
truth
reason.
is, yeah, laws for a reason. My truth is I want to go drink and then drive.
Right.
Well, the law literally says that I can't do that. So
Right.
personally, I think we need more legislation, uh, to not ban, but regulate things more in the sense of what is okay and what's not okay, defined by the laws that we already have in place, and what's morally okay, in terms of a
Right.
general sense of a moral compass, which I also don't think exists anymore here in America.
No, no.
But
There's a reason why everyone attacks like Christians and stuff. It's because I honestly believe they don't understand why we would have a moral compass. And it's like, what does that even mean? Like, you're just going to be a bad person? Like, I don't like I can't like throw a piece of trash at a trash can, miss, and then walk away. It's impossible. Like, I tried. I swear I tried. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't compute. And I think people have been brainwashed into, oh, no, it's okay. Like, who cares? Everybody does it. Oh, everybody does it, or that person did it, so it's okay. No, 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 no. Be different, go against the current. But going back to, I feel like what you said about my truth, when people say that, my truth means your opinion. That's what my truth is. My truth is what I believe, which is an opinion. So there is your truth or opinion, and then there's the actual truth, which people choose to ignore most often. So it's like, I can decide whatever I want because, I'm an adult and I've had education and blah 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 blah. Yes, but also no. No, there's certain things that we do not do. There's a reason that children are children. It's because they're like little sponges. They can. I mean, I feel like I'm going into territory I don't really understand or know that much about, but they they're not fully developed. We're not even fully developed. We're what, like 25.
25.
So yeah. So to me, why are parents, future parents, I sincerely hope not future parents, but why are they okay with this, with kinder gender or whatever, when it's literally your kid that is going to be swayed into thinking this is okay when they're like 12? And it's like, you don't understand. Obviously, well, you can't tell a kid they don't understand. I remember being 12 and someone telling me, oh, you're not fully developed. I'm like, I'm fully developed. I know what I'm doing. Like, no. And that's why, like, there was a guy in Texas. I think his 6-year-old son wanted to be a woman or whatever. And I think the mom was okay with it. Don't hold me to this. But he said no, and like he got in trouble some way. I should look this up. And like I think he had jail time or something. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like that should not, definitely not happen. It's a 6-year-old. I did I I wasn't even old enough to play with Legos yet. And how would I know that I wanted to be a woman? So it's, to me, that's someone feeding them that, because otherwise a kid's not. I promise you, a kid will not be like, I think I'm a girl, you know? Like, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but it goes in like, I'll talk about me for a second. I enjoy to cook and to sew and to paint, and I enjoy fashion, but I also understand I need to make money for my family because, yeah, okay, that's a social construct, whatever. But I fully subscribe to that social construct where I am a man. I like one woman, and that, I don't, I've had people joke about it all the time, like, oh, you're gay. And it's like, unless someone literally was feeding me that, well, if I was someone else and someone was feeding me that, yeah, I might have been. But I know for a fact that I'm not. So why is it, it's like people, there are different types of people in the world, people that can be fed that kind of information, and then people that know enough to understand, no, you're lying to me right now. You're trying to sway me to your whatever, your side, or your truth. You're trying to, and it just,
Yeah. I think it's really interesting how, like, you know, it's we're in a time in we're in a time in American history where everything is great. We haven't had a war in a long time. There's not a whole lot of hardships other than recently COVID.
right,
We're still coming out of that, but in terms of like global success and prosperity, I feel like everybody's lifted up a little bit, especially with the previous administration, you know, being a large cause of why things were so great, in my opinion, and that's
right.
my truth.
It's
But
facts. Well, Obama made us bend over for China, so
well,
Trump just helped us out of that. And I don't care if people don't agree with that, but you just
yeah,
look at the facts.
that's why the previous administration was so great. Is that
Right.
um, but my point with this is that we create issues when it's good times because we're bored, because we don't have anything else to do.
Yes. Yes, I've heard of this. Yes, you're right.
It's like
Mhm.
people are so bored and everything is so great that they create issues because they're bored. And that is just mind boggling to me, that why would somebody want to create an issue for themselves?
Right.
But aside from that aspect, we're creating so many issues on a daily basis. It's like none of these are important. I'm sorry. Like, you know, misgendering somebody when you don't even know them. I'm sorry. Like, how am
Right.
I mean, when you're dressed like a clown and like and I see you on the
Watch it,
street,
bro.
yeah, I know. When you're dressed like a clown and I see you on the street, I'm not gonna know what you want me to call you.
Right.
I'm not. And
They
if
should wear
you
t-shirts that say,
exactly, maybe a name tag or something.
"Hello, my name is transgender."
Exactly. It's like people are creating issues, and it's becoming real life in the sense that, this is not just a subculture of people who are creating issues. It's everybody who's creating an issue.
Right.
Um, whether that be for yourself, for your family, and the media obviously blows those up, and then the issues spread, the problems spread. And I think that's just so wrong in the sense that, you know, people didn't have time back in the day to question their gender. They were worried about providing food for their family and
Right.
surviving. Like, I don't
Right.
think anybody in colonial America was asking what gender they were, because they didn't
Right.
have time to ponder that.
Right.
So when we're bored and there's nothing to do because everything is so great, you create issues that aren't even supposed to be there in the first place. So
Right.
I don't know if you have anything to add on that, but that's
Well,
just
no, sorry, totally interrupt you. We'll get
no,
better.
go for it.
um I totally agree with you with you make up issues that aren't there. So experiment time. Think back pre-COVID, pre-pseudo issue again. What was the biggest problem that you remember? No, I shouldn't say the biggest problem because that's kind of your truth, you could decide. What was the most like talked about problem before COVID?
Before COVID, in my opinion,
Yeah.
definitely Trump. Trump was the biggest issue.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. Minus that, minus politics. What was like a big issue that people were like, oh, we need to fix
Race
this.
relations.
Okay. Besides that,
I don't know what you're. I don't know.
killing turtles, bro. That's honestly before. Okay, well, maybe I should have said before Trump. Before, like, okay, so like there was COVID and BLM and all of this, and Trump, several big issues. Then previous to that, the most like talked about thing that was like spent the most time in the spotlight was literally plastic straws. And it was like, oh, Starbucks is gonna, have paper straws from now on, and McDonald's now uses paper straws exclusively. Well, yeah, did you know they're not recyclable, so they literally go to landfills. Like, so it's incredibly stupid that literally we were in such a good spot, or coming into a good spot. Oh, the poor turtles. One chick found one turtle with a straw in its nose, and all of a sudden the straw is the problem. Maybe it's how we get rid of our waste. Maybe that's the problem. But people they just come up with these things. And then, Starbucks, they don't use paper straws anymore. At least some of them. Probably the ones in LA do. But by me and like most of the places I go, no, they're still plastic, because why fix something that's not broke? The plastic straw is not broken. It's how we get rid of our trash. Maybe sending our trash to Ghana and China and stuff. That maybe that's what we should be, thinking through. But people don't want to do that. That's too hard. It's easier to make us use paper straws that go to landfills anyways. So I agree with the whole coming up with problems. People are just bored. That's really what it is. It's like, I am so bored. How can I piss someone off today? Which maybe we're pissed off, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Going along with that, it's just I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't get it. Like,
yep.
I'm not discrediting real issues either, but because I do think some things are actual important issues, but that's the issue, is that who gets to decide what's important? Who gets
Right.
to decide what's an important issue? And back to, a lack of moral compass for today's society, is that people's priorities are out of whack.
Right.
They'd rather, I mean, I love turtles, but they'd rather save a turtle than fix a real issue, like, I don't know, inner city schools or something.
Oh my word. Don't get me going. We should have a whole thing where we talk about education. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Or, like the lack of, I guess, I was telling my girlfriend this the other day, that people today are not only creating issues because they're bored, but since there's a lack of moral compass, let me find the right words for this. It was, we are, oh man, hold on, talk for a
You can
little
cut
bit.
the thinking out.
Yeah, talk for a little bit, and then let me think of what exactly I had said to her.
Okay, yeah. For me, something I found out recently, I should know this, but I totally agree with. I care about turtles. I care about animals. All of it is God's creation. I care about it. The back of my shirt says, "Steward what has been given." All of everything that we have is God's, and we're literally just stewards. So I do agree we should be stewarding what He has given us. But there are real, really big issues that are totally overlooked. Widows in the Bible literally says, take care of the widowed and the orphaned. And, it's, first off, I don't think it should be like easier to adopt a kid. That's not what I'm saying. It should be more streamlined, maybe. There are tons of loving homes that could take children that can't because it's either too expensive or it's taking too long or something. So there needs to be some sort of way. Again, I shouldn't be picking up a problem without, finding a solution, but there's people smarter than me for the solution. So, but there are like real big issues, yet people want to, talk about gun control. And it's like, that is not an issue. It really isn't. Like, I was just listening to a podcast with some guy from England, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm people are scared of stabbings," and then he like paused, and he's like, "Well, like in America, shootings," and it's like, exactly. You get rid of guns, and it just the next thing. That's how statistics work. The highest death. This is not a statistic, but the highest death in America or murder, whatever, homicide, guns, and then stabbings, and then hammers, and then screwdrivers. Once you get rid of the top one, the either criminals are still going to do it and they're not going to care, which happens, or the next thing's just going to take its place. And then eventually we're going to have to, wear jackets that are made out of like bubble wrap and wrap ourselves in bubble wrap just because the world is too scary. No, I'm sorry. Like, I deserve the right to protect myself, even though there are losers out there who, again, going back to education, you're not nurturing this person through education enough, and then they think it's okay. Hey, I feel really down, I should go do some terrible thing. No, you should have people around you that care enough where they can ask, hey, how's it going, like, you should be checking in on people. You should have ways of figuring those things out. And I feel like public schools just really aren't doing it. Private schools aren't doing it. Lots of schools aren't doing it. So it's, I don't know. It's just, that was a lot of stuff. We
Yeah,
should talk
well,
about education at some
that
point.
actually reminded me of what I was going to say,
Oh,
is
perfect.
that people today, specifically, the context is that um, she was talking about how parents aren't involved in their child's education, not helping them with homework and not involved in the
Right.
schools. Specifically, even more with inner city schools where parents work 2, 3 jobs to provide,
Right.
which is a tough issue. Honestly, I see
Yeah.
that as a real issue. But even if parents had the means to donate money or donate their time through volunteering at activities, they weren't doing it. And the reason why is because they don't truly care about their kid. And that sounds wrong,
Right.
but in the sense is that, maybe the child was an accident. Today's culture is removing consequences for people's actions.
So
And
that's a good point.
that is the biggest issue in my opinion. The biggest issue today is society is removing consequences from people's actions. Oh, you made it, you know you had sex with your significant other and you got pregnant, just abort the baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
My I lost my job because of COVID, or maybe that's not a good example, but I lost my job because I don't do my work.
Right.
Give me free money.
Actually, I think it is a good example. So people, so you should be taught in high school that you need backup income. That's something. So I was taught that in personal finance, but which everybody should take personal finance if you can. But you're supposed to have, I think it's like 3 to 9 months or 6 to 9 months of money backed up. Yeah, that's asking a lot, I think, but it's a discipline, just like anything else. All you got to do, like if you work a little harder, you can do it. Like trust me, you can do it. And so when people lose their job, think about how long COVID was, 9 to 12 months, and the job market coming out halfway through COVID, it went right back up. Yeah, you might not get the job you had. Yeah, you might have to work minimum wage or something, but it's something, it's money. So yeah, I totally agree. Like people, instead of having that discipline of having a little bit of extra money to pay your bills for those 6 to 9 months, instead it's like, oh, put money here. Come on. Like I live here. I deserve money. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's like when people talk about they deserve healthcare. No, you don't. Back in the 50s, healthcare was maybe 60s, I don't know. Healthcare was like premium. It was like a luxury. Very few people had it, and it was if you prioritized it in your life. If you don't prioritize it, you shouldn't have it. So if you're prioritizing your iPhone or a car, a Mercedes or something, and you just expect the government to give you insurance, sorry, you got to get rid of one of the other things, or find a job that pays you more, or gives you good health insurance or something. So it's just,
Yeah.
I agree. People are just, they want, it's gimme, 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 when it's like hard work. This is a crazy thing. Hard work can get you literally anything you want. Anything. If you wanna go to space, hard work. You want a nice house, hard work. You want a nice car and health insurance, hard work. It's not the government. The government should not be helping. If it was up to me, what are they called? Oh crap. What are they called? Something programs. Like the money programs. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, social safety nets.
It's whatever. Yeah. They should be cut by like 70%. Food stamps doesn't need to be as big as it is. Welfare doesn't need to be as big as it is. Uh, Social Security isn't even going to last our lifetime because our government is inept at anything. So it's like
Yeah.
these things, we're literally just coddling people, and even something as stupid as tax returns. You're giving the government a free loan just so that they'll hold it for you and give it to you at the end of the year. People love their tax returns. I don't understand why. You can take that extra money that you're giving to the government because you can't, you're not disciplined enough to take care of your own money. You can take that same amount, put it into stocks, give it to some broker or something, and have him deal with it. You'll get 10% on your 10% return. But the government, you don't get any return, and you might not even get it back. That's the problem. And I don't think.
Yeah. I think that's the root issue, is that, people aren't taking, or people aren't accepting consequences for their actions. They want
Yep.
everything without working hard for it. And, they make choices in their life that may cause issues, may not cause issues. Everything has a consequence. Some may be good consequences, some may be bad, but like, that the root issue is that people aren't taking responsibility for their own actions and are just, oh, well, this is too hard for me to deal with, so somebody else should deal with it. Somebody else should give me money because, oh, this is just so hard. When in reality, most of the stuff that happens to you is because of, what you do in your life.
Yeah, it's because of you.
Like, you're going out and partying every weekend and now you wonder why you're a drunk. Like,
Yeah.
To me, people aren't accepting their own faults and then changing. They're just wondering what happens to them, and then they want it to change, but they don't want to work themselves to change it. They just want somebody else to feed them.
Right. It's sad, honestly. Like, I even think like the current administration is feeding into that, which again, we'll do a whole episode about the current administration. It'll be great. But I just heard recently, I think from brother-in-law, that the President Joe Biden is releasing whatever, the announcing sign. I don't the lingo, who cares? Basically, you have a kid, instead of having a tax write-off at the end of the year, which, that we could debate that, it doesn't matter, but they're giving you money, a check, like per month or something, because you have a kid. And it's like $3,600 a year. $3,600 a year because you had a kid. We already had a problem with people not being able to afford their kids, because I'm assuming some people want either the tax write-off or something. Now it's even worse. They're just going to get a check. And now you think people are going to have less kids. Like, people who can't afford to have a kid shouldn't have a kid. Like, you should, like, I was just talking to, again, brother-in-law, that if you want a kid, have a little dry run. See, okay, this is how much it costs. I need an extra $500 a month or whatever. If you can't make that work, don't have a kid yet. That's just how it works. Like you should want like the best life for your kid. You shouldn't be having a kid just for the sake of a nice check. Like if I got the stimulus check, I'd tear it up. I'm not even joking. I would tear it up. Or I'd go buy something that the government wouldn't want me to have, but that's different. But either way, it's like, but people aren't like that. People are like, oh, it's money. Like, oh, I'm not going to not use it. So, but
Yeah, I mean, money management in today's society is also an issue. I mean, it's great that people are like, you know, encouraging investing and, be smart with your money, but I think that the root, I guess the like what you're using your money for is not the right thing. Like,
right.
oh, go invest in crypto.
Oh,
Sure,
no,
go invest in
no.
like like go invest in crypto. Oh, sure, I'll go, invest in crypto when you can't even pay your car every month, when
Right,
you're not
right,
saving money for 3 to 6 months of, for emergency services or whatever,
right,
a nest egg fund, whatever you want to call it.
right,
Like, people are prioritizing these other facets of, you know making money and, putting their money in stuff that they hope is going to grow when they can't even do the basics.
right,
So I think there's also an issue with, what culture is teaching about money. I mean, yes, investing is great, like I fully support that, obviously giving your money to either a brokerage or doing it yourself, there's great returns to be made and you can make a lot of money from that.
right,
But if
right,
you can't even pay your car, can't even pay your rent, you know, can't barely put food on the table, you shouldn't be investing in crypto. You should be
right,
focusing on, having a stable basis, and then from there, using the extra money that you make to invest, to
right,
put to, increasing your revenue, increasing your
right,
monthly and yearly, like what you make.
right.
So
No, I
off,
I agree with
off of
that.
what you said, like, if you're not ready to have a kid because you can't afford it, find a way to make it work. Don't toss 10 grand into crypto and, oh, I hope it goes up. Like, that's
That's their
just,
college fund, bro. What are you talking about?
yeah. But that's what I'm saying, is that people are like, they think they should be investing and they think they should be doing all these things to increase what they make, but they can't even, you know, do anything else because
Right.
they can barely pay rent.
Well, that's why honestly, I've always been ever since Robinhood was rolled out, I have been hardcore against it. People ask me sometimes. I don't think I'm that good with stocks. I understand the basics and I can do it. Like I do it myself. I taught myself. That's the other thing. But people will ask me like, "Oh, well, how should I get going?" And it's like you should pick a company and put a couple $100 in and just tinkle around, tinkle around, tinker around, tinkle around. Sorry, tinker around. Maybe watch a video on some basics. That was something that I had a head start because I knew the basics, the very basics, and then I just started buying stocks, selling stocks. And that's how I learned. I lost a lot of money doing that. I probably gained it all back. So that's the way to. I'm not saying you should lose money to learn, but you need to learn by doing. Robinhood wanted the average person to be able to do it, so they made the prices lower, and they did all this crap. And then the whole GameStop deal, they showed their true colors. They protected these. The whole idea about Robinhood is that the story of Robinhood. You take money from the rich, you give it to the poor, you give it to the average person. But when it came to GameStop and the average person trying to be smarter than the Wall Street whatever people, Robinhood shut down trading at GameStop to protect the Wall Street people. So it's like their whole point, the whole reason that they did it wasn't real. It was all them just trying to come up with this fake thing that made them seem so great, when no, they're just like everybody else. So you need to stick to a real trading app, TD Ameritrade, or used to be, Scottrade. They're not a thing anymore, but real companies that legally can't do that, So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that just goes into people not understanding. And it's like, all you got to do is teach yourself. Like, I think in our last episode, Sam was saying, he learned some stuff on YouTube. I cannot tell you how much crap I've learned from YouTube. Some good, some bad, whatever. Most good, I'd say. But you want to know something? Look it up, do some research, figure it out, talk to people. You would be surprised with your circle of people, the amount of people they know, and you could make so many connections. It's not even funny. You want to get into underwater basket weaving, you've probably got a cousin somewhere that does it. So, but anyways, we started this whole thing off with transgenders in sports. Just let that sink in.
I think it sinks in, and
Yeah.
I think the theme of the issue is that there's a lack of moral compass, and people don't take responsibility for their own actions.
Right. Well, yeah. And I mean, going back to what we were talking, well, first off, I want to say we're not trying, well, I'm not, I think you would agree with this. We're not trying to belittle people or make people feel bad for their decisions or anything like that. Like, humans are still humans, and I think they should be treated as such. But I also think it's very irresponsible of us as a people group, Americans, whatever. We should not just allow this behavior to just continue, because I don't care what you say, it is a slippery slope. Everything's a slippery slope. You let a little bit of bad happen, and it's gonna take a dive, and it's gonna be, and you can literally watch that through history. We go in cycles. That's where you see bad times, war happens, good time comes out of it, we get bored, bad time happened, war, good times come out of it. So it's a cycle. So who knows? World War III might be coming. It'll be funded by Bitcoin.
Yeah, and the Chinese who are behind it.
Yeah, better watch yourself.
They are. It was a Chinese guy who created it.
Oh, Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying World War III.
Oh, well.
China's behind World War III.
With COVID, it's very possible.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, next time we're going to talk about either education or Joe Biden. We'll see. Or sorry, President Joe Biden's administration. Sorry, respect is key. But yeah, sounds good.
Sweet.
Also, thanks for subscribing. As of now, we got 10. That's honestly, I was expecting 2, because probably one of each of our parents wouldn't know how to subscribe. So, but
yeah, we appreciate you tuning in. And if you ever have concerns, issues that you want to bring up and talk about, or you want to join the podcast, reach out, comment, do what you want to do to get us in touch, and we'll facilitate something to get you on, or talk about your issue on the show. So thank you again for tuning in.
No one's out of what is it called? No one would have anyone on. There you go. We don't care. We just want to talk. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, very true.
But